Hi folks, Cowboy here. You know, seems like one of those good days to have a cup of cowboy coffee and maybe a good cigar. Now this cigar is a little different than the other one that I smoked the last time. This is actually a boxed pressed. Now you may ask what a boxed pressed means. Well, what it means is that it is pressed into square. Now this happens to be a box pressed with a torpedo end. And it is a Maduro. The outside wrapper is a Maduro. So, I told you the last time, you noticed I haven't cut this. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put this cigar in my mouth and get that tip good and moist. Now my dad used to tell me, and I've seen some other people do it, that before you smoke a cigar that you ought to sort of get it a little wet all over. Now, you don't have to do that, but it helps keep those covering the outer layer nice and moist. So it takes a few minutes for that to get to that point. So I'll be back shortly and I'll show you. Alrighty, I've taken that time to get that nice and moist. You can see, got that tip. Spit it out. Take a couple of draws on it, making sure you got it good, and I do. Pardon my spitting. So now, I like to use a torch. Now some people do it that way, some people do it this way. You can do it any way you want. But get it good and lit. Now a good cigar that's rolled correctly, this is, by the feel, another 50 ring, if you remember me talking about that in the earlier video. But the box pressed, of course, can come in different wrappers. I mean, it can come in a, like this is a Maduro, there's a Habano, there's also, the Connecticut, and there's many different types. Now you can get the box not only in this little Robusto, or I guess you might call it a Torpedo, maybe even a Torpedo Robusto. But a Torpedo is usually one that's just round, such as this one. That's a Torpedo. That is a Connecticut leaf. So let's talk about the wrappers. So this wrapper, they grow specific types of tobacco and do certain things to it to make this darker wrapper. And that Connecticut, in particular the Connecticut, they grow that tobacco, and when they do, they cover it with cheesecloth out over the field so that it doesn't get real dark. Hence, we come up with the Connecticut milder smoke than like a Maduro. Now, it's your preference. If you're going to sit down and enjoy a good cup of cowboy coffee, you probably want to have a a pretty nice cigar. This is probably about a 45, 50-minute smoke. Now, I don't know if I mentioned, but I've got 2 racks of lamb that I've got prepared, and we're doing a little Easter dinner today instead of tomorrow, which is Easter. And it's warming up right now. It's got to warm up for 2.5 hours. So it's been out now for 30 minutes. And I'm letting that rest. So while that's resting, I'm just going to have some cup Cowboy coffee and a little cigar. Now, most of the time I smoke a cigar, it might be on a special occasion. Sometimes, you just smoke one because you feel like doing it. But, if you want to smoke one, do. If you don't, don't. So this, like I told you, is a little box pressed. Some people find it uncomfortable to smoke. They just don't like that pressed. I actually do like a box pressed. And I like the regular old Torpedo or Churchill. The Churchill is a longer cigar, and that's a style of cigar, just like this box pressed is a style. Then you have those nubs, which I smoked the last time, which is just a little 55 ring, but it's a short one. But that nub will last a good while. Now, sometimes you want to have a smoke, and you don't want to smoke for an hour. You may want to smoke for, 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's hence I use a little cigar, like I call it a Western cigar, and they're a short smoke. They got good aroma to them. If some people don't like the smell of cigar, they love the smell of these little sweet aromatics. I'll show you one of those in just a few minutes. So, I'm going to sit back, going to enjoy this Maduro box pressed Torpedo style cigar. And of course, I'm going to continue to have a little cup of coffee. Now that's Cowboy coffee. So these leaves, most of the tobacco that is put into a fine cigar, and this is a pretty fine cigar. It's about a $10 cigar. These leaves, not only in the filling, but also the wrappers are aged. And most time they can be aged from 5 years to 10 years. The better cigars are aged longer, just like a good wine or a good bottle of whiskey or anything of that's got some age on it seems to, how should we say it, graduate to a better flavor. But, this one is a good quality cigar. Happens to be the Olivia brand, which means in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken, pig. But anyways, it's a nice short. You can see how even burn it is. And as I've told you before, you don't want to ash. Now, I'm here on my daughter and future son-in-law's patio, and of course, I don't want it to ash here, so I'll probably take it in a few minutes and ash it over into just so I don't drop something. So, we'll be back soon, and I'll show you that little Western cigar I'm talking about. Okay, I told you I was going to show you that other cigar. You can see how well this is burning, nice even burn. That's another good sign that you've got a quality cigar. Now, here is this little Western cigar. You can see it's very small, but it's all natural. So, for those of you who might want to smoke one of these little cigars that you buy at the convenience store, don't buy them. They're not good for you. I mean, you're telling me this one's good for you, or this one is good for you? Well, let me explain what I mean by that. This cigar is all tobacco, aged tobacco. This cigar is all tobacco, no fillers. Now, those are little cigars you buy that's got those tips on them, because some people don't like the taste of the bite that you might get from a cigar. Those cigars are full of fillers. And guess what they fill it with? Paper. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be smoking paper. I like to smoke an all-natural, all-tobacco cigar. So, that's why I buy these are called backwoods. And if you're watching some of the westerns, a lot of the guys smoke these little cigars in there. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. So, you know, you can get them in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. And you got Robusto, you got Churchill, you've got box pressed, you've got Corona. You know, I mean, there's just so many different forms of cigars out there, like whiskeys and coffee. But right now, enjoying a good smoke. And you know, sometimes in life, all a man needs is a good cup of cowboy coffee.
Oh, cowboy coffee?
And a cigar. That's all they need. You know, everybody thinks, you know, you gotta have this or you gotta have that. Maybe you gotta have a woman. I don't know. But me, I like a good cigar and a good cup of cowboy coffee. Sit back, relax, and just ponder the day. Ponder tomorrow. Ponder about what's going to happen next week. So, I'm going to sit back here and enjoy this coffee. Who knows? I may be back some more. So to give you just a little update, you see how that cigar is burning? And like I told you, don't ash it. Let it fall naturally. Action.
But this is smoother.
So, folks, just so you'll know, every now and then it's good to have a little snack. This is homemade cheese whiz on Ritz crackers. Absolutely delicious.
That's good.
Got it in a little piping bag. You can pop it out. And they brought all of these to me. Can you believe that? I'm just going to sit here and have it with my cigar and my cowboy coffee.
Are you gonna eat all?
So, I don't know if you guys can see. Hold on, let me reposition this. All right, I hope you can see my buddy over here. Come here, Taboo. Come here. You know, a man's good friend is a cigar and his cup of cowboy coffee. Where's my puppy dog at? Taboo, he's ran off over there. But you know, there's 3 things that you don't do to a man. If I haven't told you this, I'm going to tell you. Number 1, you never kick his dog. Number 2 is, don't mess with his wife. And number 3 is never, ever touch his hat. Some words of wisdom from Cowboy. Okay, just give you a little update on this cigar. Been going about 45 minutes. I did ash it once so that I wouldn't drop it on the patio, because if I did, I'd be in big trouble. And you know, you don't ever want to be on mama's side, bad side. So, like I told you, this is about a 45 minute to an hour. Now, myself, I like to smoke it right down to the wrapper, and yeah, I'll take that wrapper off and I'll smoke it down till it starts to burn my lips. Yeah. So, I got a little while going. We're T-minus an hour and a half before we're gonna put them racks of lamb in the oven. Man, I can't wait. Well, let's still enjoy this cigar and that cowboy coffee. Be back soon. So there we go. I got that wrapper off. You can see, still smoking. Nothing like a good cigar. So I know I mentioned about that lamb that I'm going to be cooking it in a few minutes. Well, an hour and a half or so. When you're cooking meat, I don't know if you all do this or not, but it's best you cook using a thermometer. Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you, if you want to get that meat to that medium or that medium rare, or you want to get it to medium well, you can do that when you're cooking by temperature. Now, I'm going to be using probably 3 probes. One is going to be, the 4th probe is going to be just in the oven so that I can see the temperature of the oven. And then I'm going to be able to see the temperature of the racks of lamb at different spots. And, of course, that thermometer is Bluetoothed to my phone. I am telling you, computers, well, they're good when they work, right? So, I'm going to cook that to about a medium. And sit back, let it rest for about 15 minutes or so. Then we got one person who doesn't like medium well, likes it well done, so I'm going to have to kill it. In other words, I'm going to have to put it in the frying pan, and I'm going to put it on there and cook it till it's well done. But medium well, that is the best way to eat that meat. It's got that juiciness, got that flavor to it. So, you know, to each his own. And you know, cooking, smoking a cigar, drinking a good cup of cowboy coffee, you strive to do your best when you're doing all of those, like getting a good cigar and smoking it the right way, drinking a good cup of coffee the right way, getting your blend that you like. Also, when it comes to cooking meat and cooking, well, anything, is strive to do the very best that you can. You know, there's an old saying, be the best version of yourself every day. Because when you are the best version of yourself, that rubs off on people. And for some reason, they begin to realize when we strive to do our best, it makes us happy. It makes the people around us happy. And I would encourage you every day to do that. Sometimes it's good just to sit out here and listen to the birds. I've talked about this before. I call it sometimes the classroom of silence. Have a chance to ponder and think about things. Enjoy your cigar. You know, and of course enjoying a good cup of cowboy coffee. Got your puppy dog at your feet. Sometimes man's best friend. Sometimes they're not. But, you know, there's lots of things in life that is enjoyable. A good cigar, a good cup of coffee, a good puppy dog or a kitten, and of course, your lovely wife and your loved ones. And this is that time where we want to spend time with them, particularly around holidays and birthdays and things of that sort. Enjoy it. And as I've said before, seize that moment, because that moment will never, ever happen again in the history of time as we know it. But now that's a deeper subject. We don't want to get too deep here. So let's just sit back and relax. Well, this cigar's been going about 50 minutes now. Some people wonder, why do you smoke a cigar? I mean, it's just smoke. Well, you don't inhale a cigar. Well, some people do, but I wouldn't do that. But every cigar, there's some flavor there. Sometimes it can be nutty. Sometimes it can be fruity. Sometimes it could be peppery. Sometimes it can be hot. There is one particular cigar. It's a Cuban cigar. And that can be really heavy. And you know, there's some cigars that are really heavy. And of course, you know, don't start out with those. Start out with a mild cigar like that Connecticut wrapper. And sort of work yourself into it, if that's something that you want to do. So, you know, it's like a good walk. I preferably like to walk with a walking stick. You know, some people call it a walking cane. And then you got those who have what you call staffs. Now, a staff is much bigger. Staff is longer and taller than a walking stick or a cane. But that's another subject we can get into later. I like to make walking sticks. You know, I like to sit down and sit there and whittle. Usually drink a good cup of coffee. Sometimes I even have a cigar while I'm sitting there whittling. Carving, shaving, taking your time, going through, looking at the stick and determine if you want to put a face on it or if you want to do different carvings on it. Sometimes I put a cross on it. I like to make some leaves, things of that sort. So, it's good to be able to be by yourself. You know, there's some people in the world that they can't be by themselves. But you know, to be the best version of yourself, you got to love yourself first. You got to get along with yourself. So I would advise you or try to employ you to try some of those techniques of just sitting in the classroom in silence and enjoying the day. It's a little overcast today. You know, the sun's not out. It's cool. I'm in a short sleeve shirt. And you know, it's just, it's a blessing to be able just to sit here and be able to do this. We go through life sometimes and we get so busy that we don't just sit down and take the time to relax, to sit down and to enjoy what God has created for us. You know, the beautiful trees are putting out and the green leaves, the smell of things blooming. Of course, if you don't have allergies. But this cigar is still running. I sure am glad I hadn't videotaped the whole thing. I mean, we're coming up on almost an hour here for this cigar. And look, it's still lit. And you know, I could lay this cigar down, go in, go to the bathroom if I had to, go fill up my coffee, what have you, come back 3, 4, maybe even up to 5 minutes. And guess what? A good cigar is still going to be lit. That's another thing that tells you if it's a good cigar. Now, I didn't tell you about these other 2 cigars I've got here. This cigar here is a house brand cigar. Sometimes these are seconds. And you can get some good seconds cigars. In other words, they didn't make the cut to be rated, you know, number 1s. But I'm telling you, they still are really good. This is not a 50, it may be a 48, 49, and that may be why they're selling it as a second. They sell those seconds and places put their own brand on them. So you can get some good deals like that, not have to spend $10. You might spend $4. You might spend $5. But enough of my rattling. Gonna sit here, finish this cigar, and have some more Cowboy coffee. Here we go, and more a little update. I'm getting down to that burning lip. Not too far. Not gonna waste it though. So as I told you, I had to put my cigar down. You can see I'm getting really close. It's beginning to get warm on the fingertips. But I had to go in and get my Cowboy coffee refilled. Now, I also checked my meat. You know, the racks of lamb. Making sure everything looked good. They're warming up. We're now T-minus hour and 15 minutes. Doggone, this little old cigar, this box pressed, it's coming up on hour and 15 minutes. Only lit it once. Only ashed it twice. Set it down for about 4 minutes. Come back, still lit. That's the makings of a good cigar. So, this cigar is just about gone. We're going to bring this video to an end. And as usual, I'm not hungry, except smoking my cigar and drinking my Cowboy coffee. And as the way I always end my videos, I'll see you on down the trail. Happy Easter.